I wanted to jump on here because I made a Q&A a while ago and I promised that I would keep doing it. And so I've been collecting some questions, but I've also been having some pretty significant downloads. So I thought I would take a little bit of time to maybe pull them all together and we'll see how this flows. So today we're going to dive a little bit into understanding a little bit more of what's been downloaded here in my own experience. And I want to start this particular video with a conversation about that. This channel attracts variations of people from all over, just based on interviews, sharings, whatever. So I want to preface this with, although I had a profound experience in 2008 by having a near-death experience, that by no means made me hierarchically any different than anyone watching this video. We, in our appearing as separate energies, all seem to be taking up a space in the 3D physicality where we appear to be standing, meaning that no one else can be standing in that same space, seeing through that same exact set of filters at that same apparent exact moment. And we all appear to be having unique expressions of being human right here and right now. Call it what you may. But on this particular channel, which is mine, it is a personal expression of what I seem to be experiencing. And that is all that I share here. I've said it a million times in a million different ways. I'm not a guru. I'm not a teacher. I am a multi-diverse energy appearing to cast out some universal knowledge that we all have the ability to tap into, that we refer to as infinite wisdom. Do I have all of it? Every download? Of course not. Is it being shared to give a perception that I've got it all figured out? Not at all. If you guys have watched any of my videos, you know I say over and over, this is a never-ending process of awakening, unraveling, whatever you call it. Each expression appearing to be unique to each apparent one appearing to experience it. So that's all I'll speak to on this channel. As a universal, multi-dimension beinged, human, what appears to be part of this story of Kelly's life work is as a communicator. That's it. You can call this entertainment or reality TV, in the dream. I don't care what you call it. I'm not tied to an outcome. If you guys look at my videos, I'm not here for thousands upon thousands of likes. Of course, I appreciate being somewhat of a vibrational node in this expression, but not to attract likes and followers, but to attract the vibration of energies I choose to interact with, which is you, the one watching it right now. Whether you're a naysayer, whether this feels like this was recorded specifically for you, whether it feels like I'm looking into your eyes and having a conversation with you, those are all true. As these apparent linear beings that we seem to be, we can only perceive at the level of which our vibrational lens can receive. So as I mentioned, we seem to be here having a multitude of experiences as fractals in many ways, many versions of this one being expressed. we can point to things as our unique story of it. And we can share that. And others may align to that, or they may hear it, think it's interesting, and then it immediately lets go. How you know you're ready to receive the node of information that's being shared here. Something within you will feel something within itself that says that resonates. It's like two cell towers talking to each other. Our phones connect to some wireless data station, and it says, that's my node. That's the one I'm receiving from. It's the one that makes the most sense based on where I am, right? So this iPhone, my tool, pings out to the closest connection that makes sense to it vibrationally, and we are no different. Now, what does that say to you? Like attracts like. Vibrationally and harmonistically, we will connect with that which is in alignment to that which we are. Ooh, let that soak in for a minute. If you are moving through your day today, you, as this apparent unique aspect that you seem to be, and you're feeling as though life is happening to you, even listening to this, you're thinking, gosh, this lady is crazy. She makes everything sound like it's so easy. She makes it sound like we should all get this. That is the vibration you're aligning to, which is resistance. The signal will not connect. You'll hear me speaking. You'll be naysaying it. And then this will be forgotten, or it'll be a trigger. Now let's talk about both of those avenues. Actually, there's three. Forgotten, it'll be a trigger, or something really connects. And you say, let's go on with this. Let's watch the next video. Or let's go back and look at some of the older content here. Something's resonating. So that tells you it's in alignment with where you are. Perfect. Now, if it triggers you, well, that's also in alignment, but it's an alignment of resistance. It's inviting you to look at that, not the judgment of this, which is where the mind wants to go. This crazy lady, she's triggering me. She's making me angry. I wish she wouldn't use her hands so much, or she looks away from the camera too much, or whatever it is that the mind is telling you right now as you're watching this. That's the invitation. We call it a distraction or noise or a frustration or minding. No, it's the invitation to look at that thought, and then it lets go. Ooh, what happens when that lets go? Vibrational energy opens. Your signal can pick up a higher signal, and that's what lands there. We call it, maybe our vibe tribe comes into our experience, or we seem to connect with a book that someone just randomly, synchronistically gave us, or we bump into someone we've been thinking about and hoping we could see. We're not creating that. It's not a free will activity. It's always been moving about us, just like a cell tower doesn't pick up and move to you, right? You just all of a sudden are able to receive the signal because you're not bringing all the noise in. There's no boundary to it. There's no veil from it. You're a multi-dimensional being. Oh, it's delicious. Now the third one, absolute resistance to anything being said. Defiance of it. anger, even bitterness, resentment. I want to be there, comparison, expectation. Ouch, 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 ouch. The good news, none of them are yours. They're expressions of fractals energetically playing that you're tapping into. They're there to make you uncomfortable, to make you stop and take pause, to make you recognize that's not true. Once you honor that, you're looking at the thought and the feeling and the emotions that are all stirring up from it, and it lets go. Once again, the signal is clear to receive a wider spectrum. This is not something to build. This is not a skill to learn. This is not a practice or a dogma. It's an opportunity to look at this moment, each and every one of them, every thought, until each and every one of them transmutes to the truth of what this vibration is. Because there's only one signal, right? If you go back to our whole analogy of bandwidth, there's only one huge bandwidth. Yes, there's different hertzes within the bandwidths, megahertzes, mini megahertzes. It goes on and on and on infinitely, as do you. You're an expression of that. At any given moment, there's an opportunity to see where this is tuning in. Now let's carry that forward in some of the questions that I've been getting, because I think that's where all of this starts to come to play. And I've been keeping these for a while. I've really been, consciously writing down some of the ones that feel like they overlap. Maybe the words aren't exactly the same, but the sentiment or the query is the same. So this ties right in when I talk about multidimensional beings. So one of the followers that's been following me for, 10 years plus and has been a client at various stages in their own journey, asked my specific thoughts on alien beings. So I'm going to share that, not from what I believe, but from what I perceive, my own internal knowingness experientially. Now, I'm not doing this again to create some desire or expectation for the one watching to wish to have these same experiences. That's why we started with my whole entry to this video of, if what I share is something that aligns and excites you, that means that it's already in your creational world, because everything is, right? It was all created at once. It's all here. But if you're not experiencing it as I share, it means that something is blocking that. It's not a tool to go build. It's an opportunity to meet the invitation that's blocking it so that it lets go. So again, that receivership is there. If you had asked me that question prior to my near-death experience in 2008, I will simply say the same thing I've said in every video I've done. From as little as I can remember, I was always a curious little girl. I remember, before even formulating language, having some thoughts of, why am I here? Now, notice that if you've been following me a long time, that's the first time I've said that out loud. And there's a reason for that. I've also shared that I still get downloads from my near-death experience. 15 years ago, 2008. How is that possible that you're still getting downloads? Because this linear being, the signal, can only what? What did we just talk about? It can only connect to what it is vibrationally in alignment with. So although it is tapped in to universal knowledge and infinite wisdom, which we all are, that never goes away, we may not be able to tap into it until what? That space is present to receive the signal. So why have these videos progressively changed? And it may seem as though the message in them has changed, or the method in which that is being communicated here has changed. People even say, Kelly, your voice has changed. The way you look has changed. Of course it has. Of course it has. We are multi-dimensional energies being expressed. Every time I say that out loud, I get goosebumps. There is no stet in this. It is fluid, just as that link to the cell phone. So aliens, unicorns, Sasquatch, other light beings, the magical, the fae, the mystical, all of it is received here now. And it just keeps expanding. And it's so beautiful. Do I believe in it? Absolutely. Am I perceiving it? You betcha. Is it real? That is for the experiential to determine in the experience. That's not for me to tell you. Your expression of it versus mine is our own unique path to what we call God, which is the one of it all in which we are a part. It is not for me to tell you what to believe in. So if you're looking for someone to tell you that's real, you'll find that person. It's not me. It's not this channel. What I will tell you is that I've yet to find anything that is true or untrue. Duality is an incredible gift we get to express and experience. It's why we seem to have this unique vibrational energy and be taking up the space in this moment that only I can take. No one else can be in this same space that I'm in. I tell you this is blue, you say yes it is, but I don't know if your version of blue is mine. We don't even know if how we are perceiving each other in looks, in sound, in taste, in touch, in these 5 senses, we seem to think are our only ones. And that's transitioning to the next question. And this is from another follower who came through one of my recent interviews on the Jeff Mara podcast. Kelly, you spoke often about the pain and the suffering that caused you to commit your suicide, but you never talk about what that was. I do think I do, to be fair, in some sense. I think in the culmination of all my videos, I do. So the Jeffrey Mara podcast is fairly recent, so maybe you haven't seen some of my older videos. But I will say this. It is not spiritually bypassing the journey of suffering that led to this apparent moment. Not by any means. If you've been following me a long time, you know I've shared so many expressions of what seem to have been painful experiences in the story of Kelly. There's no reason to belabor that. I don't live from that space. But I will say this. Each of us in our own unique human expression and experience have moments where we refer to something as a depressive episode, an anxious episode, a fearful episode. It correlates to time and space, which then tracks us into a story of a then and a now. It pulls us deeper into the story and embeds us there. And you and I have all had experiences with people who are living in their trauma. They're still telling the story of what happened to them over and over. And each time they do, they're living in that trauma again. Or they just watch the news and they get on the channel and they hear a loving message and they say, how can you sit here and put this message out when I just watched that on the news? That's not for me to guide you, but it is, in fact, an invitation for you to guide you, because the mirror is the guiding tool. It's your map. I'm going to say that again. The mirror, the reflection, is your map. It's your guiding tool. Suffering is part of that. So if throughout your day you seem to feel like life is happening to you, or all the media is really negative today, or every experience you're having with another feels really harsh today, that's your invitation. Now, what most of us do in this human expression is we get on social media and we say, I just watched the most awful newscast. Here, let me share it for you. I just saw this horrific thing. Let me share it. Or they come on my videos and they say, that's lovely, lady, but let me tell you what's going on in my world. Now, how I receive and perceive that, I don't bypass it. I don't say, that's your circus and your monkeys. I say, ooh, look what the mirror brought forward. That's for me. That is for me. That's my work. That's my teacher and guru today. Fabulous. Okay, what are we going to sit down and unpack today? I don't make it about them. I don't make it about that. And I don't make it about the experience. The mirror is what? My map, my invitation to explore this moment so that it lets go. Period. My journey is my own self-exploration. The soul map that I seem to have, my connection to this source of all that I am, brings me exactly what I need when I'm in infinite trust and unwavering faith, and I'm not out working on the dream in the dream. What's next, universe? What's next, God? And the mirror brings that. If it's suffering, that's my work. It's here. It's a call and an invitation back to love, back to the expression of boundlessness that I am, back to the infinite wisdom in which I can partake, back into the connections with the layers of energies that seem to align more to where I am. Every moment I seem to be able to navigate those variances in this avatar. What's here? What's here? What's here? What's here? Let's look. Let's look. Let's look. Let's look. Am I that? No. Am I that? No. Am I that? No. Interesting. What am I? Mirror brings more. Am I that? No. Am I that? Mm-mm. Keep looking. Over and over and over. until the boundlessness has so much space to begin to answer the questions that have always been here. If I'm none of this, what am I? And then silence responds. And we are able to vibrationally receive that signal. So I hope that answers your question. I've gone into depth on two pretty heavy duty ones, but I've got one more fun one that I saved for the last. Go back. I want to read this one exactly as it was sent so that I don't miss any of. Here it is. Kelly, you used to share more about your psychic encounters, and I love those. And it's been such a journey following you for almost 14 years. I met you before you even had a YouTube. I know who this is. Sent through anonymously, by the way. Now that I've read it a few times, it's connecting. So what I would like to know, if you're willing to share, is how your perception of psychic encounters has shifted over the last 15 years. I want to know if that's gone deeper for you and if you see, feel, and experience things differently than you used to. Much love. Okay. What an awesome question, and I love it. Again, I share in my videos all the way back to the very first one that I posted with my near-death experience. But as this particular user says, they know me in person. They've been following me and they've met me from the beginning of this journey. And they remember when I didn't have a YouTube and I used to share what psychic encounters felt like. And yes, it has morphed and changed so much as this unraveling continues to change. Now, I touched on it a little bit, I think in the last question, if not the one prior, about the five senses. But let me talk more about that. As a multidimensional being, we are not limited by five senses. As this unraveling continues, we recognize that those five senses are just training wheels. They're entryways into the knowingness of our expansiveness. So, has this changed for me? Absolutely. I am grateful that I wasn't born this way because I have something to compare it to in the seeming landscape of a time and space. In the beginning of this, certainly how I described what was coming through felt more like videos or pictures, smells, taste, touch. And over 15 years, those things have established what I call a psychic catalog or dictionary or thesaurus of knowledge with repetition. When I do work with people who are wanting to expand their psychicness, I say to them, it's not about expanding your psychicness. That is a product that comes as a benefactor or a perk when awareness expands. It is our natural, true divine nature to have this. But again, the signal can only connect where we are. So as the last 15 years of expression in this apparent journey has morphed in the story of Kelly, in the avatar of this zoot suit, the expression of how that psychic mediumship channel piece has come through has absolutely intensified. It's like going from a 2D movie theater into a 5D movie theater. And then even deeper till there's no movie theater. And then beyond that even. So to put it into words is very challenging because it's not something that can be received through 5 senses. Those still are here in the human expression. I still taste, but I feel like my tastes have deepened. I still hear, but my sound is on a whole different level. It's not coming through the ears anymore. It's like in my NDE where I become the sound. I become the expressed. The tastes are me. I am them. The smells, I become them. Sometimes when I'm alone in my silence and I'm having a meal, I don't even realize the sounds I'm making in such deep enjoyment of the other day I was nibbling on a mango. This time of year, they're not very ripe and they're not very tasty, but someone had gifted me one that was. And as I cut into it and I began to eat it, I was hearing these divine little sounds. And I realized they were me because I was in such enjoyment of the flavors and the sensory satisfaction, on my taste buds. And it was just such an experience. And it was expressing itself far beyond how I used to take in food. So I feel like that's a really good example. We get tied to thinking psychicness or mediumship or channeling is something so unique, but it's exactly like I just explained taste buds could be. I hear people who have been smokers their whole lives, and then they quit smoking, and you meet with them down the line, maybe 6 months or so, and they've probably put on a few pounds, and they say, I finally taste food again. I forgot how good food tasted, because for whatever reason, obviously the nicotine is dumbed down or numbed down their taste buds. That's how I explain this. As the opening opens and the vibration is received at a deeper, more profound level, the expression of that just becomes more intense. So yes, what used to be movies is now motion pictures. What used to be an expression of maybe thumbnails is now far beyond anything I can put into words. How I hear and correlate with those on the other side, for lack of better words, it's just natural, wholesome. It feels easy. It's not profound. It's not some big grandiose. And I think that's why people get tripped up in this unraveling. They're wanting that. And it's so subtle. It's just part of who I've always been. It's an intrinsic characteristic like sound, touch, taste, auditory, that's just expanded, and I've gotten used to it. It's expressing itself, and it continues and continues and continues and continues. But that continuation is so subtle in each installment that there's not a noticing that it's happening. Yet if I do the comparison through the thing called time and space, there seems to be a hierarchical advancement in the skill level. Yet that's never been true. My linear brain needs that. So I've shared a lot today. I hope some of this lands, but I have no attachment to that. I just know that I enjoy trying to simplify the messages to the receiver of that receiving it, knowing that that is an aspect of me in the fractaled universe in which I'm a part of. And if that lands for you, here, somewhere in between, or it comes through and you think, crazy lady, or you feel triggered by it, all of those are exactly as they should be. I hope you receive whatever it is that's intended for you in a way that just makes you at least feel loved. If you get that from the message, that's more than enough. That is the mustard seed. The rest will plant, foster, and grow itself. And once it does, the awareness will then take hold and say, weeding begins, and that's your journey. We've gotten you here. Your earnestness will start to engage so that we can work together again. Much love, much, much love to each and every one of you. And if these videos are helpful, like, subscribe, share if you're called to do it, not because I am attached to an outcome, but perhaps in your own unraveling, you could share this message with someone today who seems to be needing that hand from a soul guide, and you are that, just as I am. Much love until next time. And I do see you, and I send you so much love.